Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. I just got a brilliant question from a subscriber. They asked me to look into the band The Hollywood Vampires, which Johnny Depp is a part of. This year's Grammys on February 15th, this band performed. Johnny Depp was on the stage. And if you can get your hands on that performance, watch it and look at Johnny Depp's face. He looks like he is having the worst day of his life. And I was asking myself, what's wrong with him, Music performance, award ceremony, should be having a good time. But instead, his face, it communicated that something awful had happened. And earlier in the day, the news was Vanity had passed, the musician. I made a video the day of February 15th talking about the parallels between her and Prince. In that video, I said, Prince better watch his ass. Those were my exact words. I said we could be reading about him as the next dead musician. Anyhow, I want to show you the connection between the release of this band's album, The Hollywood Vampires, and the deaths of Vanity and Prince. It is undeniable, the parallels. So, the Hollywood Vampires that Johnny Depp's a part of, they put out this album September 11th, 2015. What a release date, September 11th. Always getting riddled into these stories. Earlier this year when there was the shooting at the concert in Paris, France at the Bataclan, it was in the headlines that the theater had been sold by its Jew owners on September 11th. September 11th, coming 63 days before the November 13th massacre. So we're told. Paris equals 63. So anyway, we'll talk about what's significant about September 11th in regards to the dates Vanity and Prince died on. First, let's just look at the band name. Hollywood Vampires in simple English gematria sums to 232. Satan equals 232 in Jewish gematria. Hollywood Vampires also equals 88. Words such as poison and program have gematria of 88. Think about what Hollywood does. Puts out all this poisonous programming that people are addicted to. Violence, 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 killing, killing, killing. Constantly. How hard is it to find a movie that doesn't have violence, guns, shooting, murder in it? All these movies, all this money spent reinforcing these things. Why? Why is it that we want to watch these movies about murder and killing again and again? Personally, I don't. I'm asking the question for we as a society. So interesting gematria in this band name. The track listing stands out. My veteran subscribers, they'll recognize the significance of some of those track lengths. For now, I just want to stick to the connections about Prince and Vanity, which we're getting to. Notice this album runs 48 minutes. Talk about why that's significant in just a moment. From the day their album came out until the Grammys, the day of their performance, the same day Vanity died, was 157 days. Also, 22 weeks and 3 days. 22 weeks and 3 days, 223. Very special number to the Freemasons and the Zionists. From the day the album released until the day Prince died, 223 days. And remember, the band name's 232, a re-scrambling of these numbers. With regards to the span of 157 days, that's not an arbitrary number. United States equals 157. Vampire in simple English gematria equals 84. United States of America equals 84. All this stuff is symbolism, coding for something much greater. And these numbers, they are very significant in the history of the nation. Martin Luther King Jr. killed at the Lorraine Motel. Lorraine Motel equals 157. Then Prince dies 223 days later. The reflection of 223 is 322. Special number to Skull and Bones, the Masonic order at Yale that many presidents and people in high places have been a part of. Show you something about this passage. Genesis 3:22. This is the New International Version, the very Americanized version. But just read what this verse is about. And the Lord God said, the man has now become like one of us, knowing good and evil. He must not be allowed to reach out his hand and take also from the tree of life and eat, and live forever. So, these numbers, it's about man becoming like God. And the Freemasons are playing God over the people of this world. Rigging this news, reporting deaths as natural that are actually murders, scripting sports games that fans think are, organic, real competition. They're not. Notice the use of the word tree. Hollywood, Illuminati, evil, all words with 48 gematria. So does the word tree. When you think about trees, they're so essential. They produce oxygen, they produce fruit. Sometimes I try to think about how this coding came to be, these Bible verses came to be. The original alcohol of this world, the first ever alcohol created, at least from my understanding, from all that I've researched, came from apples. Apples fermented, made into alcohol. And in the history of the United States, there was a period of time where there were movements against apple trees, getting rid of apple trees, burning apple trees, cutting down apple trees, because people would take the apples and make alcohol. And, a lot of people can use alcohol responsibly, have a good time, laugh a little bit more, enjoy themselves. But a lot of people who use alcohol, they end up doing real evil in this world, hurting others, hurting themselves, Alcohol, one of these things that can lead to destruction. So, I just wonder, over the course of thousands of years, people learning these lessons, people falling into the same traps, I wonder if that's where these parallels come. Somebody months ago came to this channel and was telling me about druids and evil and trees and tree worship. There's other layers, there's things I don't understand, there's knowledge other people have. I'm just trying to help you connect the dots and see the bigger picture here. Johnny Depp right now made the headlines the other day, May 27th, 2016, a date with 48 numerology, because his former wife has filed a restraining order against him. Part of me wonders if these stories are just propaganda, reinforcing, cultural problems, cultural stereotypes. Perhaps some men see this. Maybe they're drunk and they see it and they're like, oh, Johnny Depp beats his woman? Well, I will too. Think about how many people aspire to be like celebrities, copy them, live their lives around them, take on their fashion, their style. Anyway, that woman, Amber Heard, gematria 48. Story comes out on a date with 48 numerology. Also, this number 223 that we're talking about, that was coded into the spacing of the release of their album, to the deaths of Vanity, 22 weeks and 3 days, Prince, 223 days. 223 is the 48th prime number. And again, 223, very special numbers to the Freemasons. Masonic equals 223. The synagogue of Satan, the name given to the false Jews from the book of Revelation, the book of prophecy, that says the false Jews will rule in the end times. This is their name, the synagogue of Satan, 223. This number coded all over our nation's history, a shining example, the Star-Spangled Banner, the national anthem. Important numbers all throughout history. The Bible itself, the most recognized publishing date of the Bible is March 22nd, a date that can be written 22/3 or 3/22. Vanity died February 15th. February 15th is also the final day of Lupercalia, the ancient Roman festival that begins on the 44th day of the year. Lupercalia equals 44. The word kill equals 44. This festival very much connected to death. Vanity died during it, the same day of the performance by this band, Vampires of Hollywood. From Vanity's death, February 15th, to Prince's, April 21st, a total span of 67 days. Prince's birthday, June 7th, 6/7. In the video on Vanity, I talked about how Prince, having these numbers coded on him, including the 6/7 birthday, was something to look out for, because these celebrities, they routinely die by the number 67. Lo and behold, Prince dies 67 days later. Blood sacrifice equals 67. Satanic equals 67. Again, the synagogue of Satan, 223. Up here, the band name, Hollywood vampires, Satan. You see what's going on? What Satan is self-worship, sociopathic behavior, putting yourself ahead of everything reasonable. And this is how the powers that be operate. And my guess is the way they justify their behavior is by, turning on Animal Planet, turning on the National Geographic Channel, and watching, animals eat other animals. All life to survive needs to eat more life. There is an element of truth to that. But it's obvious that these people, this is their way of life, continually killing for ritual, staying on top with sickness, owning these celebrities with big contracts and likely threats. Perhaps Johnny Depp, perhaps the reason he had this scowl on his face, this is probably the best he looked during the whole performance. If you watch this video, you're going to see what I mean in Johnny Depp's face. Perhaps the reason his face was so disgusted was because he knew what happened to Vanity earlier in the day. Vanity died on the 46th day of the year. Vanity equals 46. The word sacrifice alone equals 46. The Hollywood vampires. The reason this knowledge is important is so people can recognize what's going on in the world and recognize what they're spending their money on. If you're someone who goes to the theater, if you're someone who gives all this money to these companies that's owned by this gang, you're keeping these people in power. You're helping fuel the sickness. The only way to shut down this system is to resist, to not participate, to withdraw consent. Don't shop corporate, shop local. Show you all the numbers one more time on the screen. And I just did a video earlier this morning showing Prince saying all we can go by is prophecy. Prophecy, the final book of Revelation, the book where the synagogue of Satan is named from. This is what they're doing, the Masons, the Zionist Jews. Using the Bible, using it as a playbook, and coding the numbers from the Bible into their wrongdoing, again and again. All right, Truth Seeker, until next time. Encore, just want to cover one more important fact. The day Prince died, Niagara Falls was lit up purple. And a lot of people said, whoa, how did they get this tribute out for Prince so quick? And then the mainstream media said, no, this was set up for the Queen's 90th birthday. Niagara Falls was made all purple, royal, purple, the color of royalty. The Queen turned 90, the head of the royal family, on the day Prince died at 57, a difference of 33 years. As I pointed out, Prince had birth numerology of 90. Niagara, the falls lit up, have gematria of 33, and 90 is one of only two numbers when written out as a word that have gematria of 33. The other 16, and this death happened in 2016. Prince and Vanity both dead at age 57, like Scottish Rite, as in Scottish Rite Freemasonry. The ultimate kicker for this story, though, is where Vanity's from. Vanity is from Niagara Falls. Vanity's death connected to Prince's death, which was seemingly connected to the Queen's birthday. And as I also pointed out, Prince George, the little baby, turned 33 months old on the day Prince died as well, the young member of the royal family. So that wraps it up. Just want people to understand how planned, how coordinated all of this is. And you know by who.